Why are so many people ignoring the dangers of NPD? There's a word that gets thrown around a lot these days: narcissist. It shows up in YouTube comments, on TikTok therapy reels, and late-night group chats after another toxic breakup. But while the term is becoming more familiar, the truth is, we're still not taking it seriously enough. We treat narcissistic behavior like a bad personality quirk or dating red flag. But in reality, narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, isn't just about being arrogant or self-absorbed. It's a deeply damaging psychological pattern, and far too many people still underestimate the harm it causes. So why are so many people ignoring the dangers of NPD? It's not because the signs aren't there. It's because the signs are often hidden beneath charm, success, and social power. And society has a long history of confusing confidence with character and spotlighting the loudest person in the room, even if they are also the most dangerous. Let's break this down. 1. Narcissism wears a mask, and people fall for it. People with high narcissistic traits, especially those with full-blown NPD, often come across as magnetic. They can be charismatic, witty, confident, and incredibly charming. They say the right things. They tell you what you want to hear. They dazzle you, then disarm you. They make you feel seen, chosen, special. And that's exactly how they hook you. It's easy to ignore the red flags when someone's reflecting your hopes and dreams back to you like a mirror. But once the mask starts to slip, once the control, manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional cruelty kick in, you're already emotionally invested. You've bonded with a performance, not a person. And the moment you start to question their behavior, they flip the script. Suddenly, you become the problem. You're too sensitive. You're imagining things. And if you try to leave, the guilt trips begin. Or worse, the smear campaigns. So why do people ignore the danger? Because narcissistic abuse doesn't start with a slap in the face. It starts with a kiss on the forehead. 2. Our culture rewards narcissism. Let's be honest, narcissistic traits are often rewarded in modern society. We've built a culture that celebrates image over substance, visibility over vulnerability, and personal gain over collective well-being. Confidence, ambition, and dominance are praised, even when they come at the expense of empathy, accountability, and basic decency. It's why narcissists often rise to the top in business, politics, and entertainment. They are willing to bulldoze anyone in their way. They know how to curate a persona. They are masters of self-promotion. And we reward that. We follow them. We vote for them. We buy their products. We call them strong leaders or visionaries or influencers. Meanwhile, the people harmed by them are often dismissed as bitter, jealous, or weak. This cultural conditioning runs deep. We're taught to admire confidence, even when it's arrogance. We're told to follow success, even when it's built on manipulation. And when someone finally calls out the abuse, we ask, are you sure it was really that bad? Yes, it really is that bad. 3. People don't understand the abuse because it's not always obvious. One of the most devastating things about narcissistic abuse is that it's often invisible to the outside world. There are no bruises, no police reports, no screaming matches in public. Instead, the harm happens slowly, psychologically, over time. Narcissists erode your reality piece by piece. They gaslight you, making you question your memory, your emotions, your judgment. They isolate you from friends and family. They shift blame so skillfully that you end up apologizing for things they did. They punish you with silence, passive aggression, or emotional withdrawal. And they do it all while keeping their image squeaky clean to the outside world. So when survivors finally speak up, people don't always believe them. They say things like, "But it's so nice to everyone else. She's always posting such positive stuff online. They seem like such a perfect couple." That's the trap. Narcissistic abuse hides in the space between perception and reality. It's psychological warfare disguised as love. And because it leaves no physical scars, people often miss the emotional devastation it causes. 4. Survivors are often silenced or blamed. Another reason people ignore the dangers of NPD, because survivors are often met with skepticism or judgment when they try to speak out. They are told they should have left sooner, that they are just playing the victim, that maybe they are exaggerating, that maybe they're the real narcissist. This response is especially common when the narcissist is well-liked, powerful, or attractive. It's hard for people to accept that someone they admire is capable of deep emotional abuse. So instead of confronting that discomfort, they turn on the survivor. This compounds the trauma. Survivors already feel confused and broken from the abuse. Now they also feel invalidated, isolated, and ashamed. Let me be clear. Survivors need support, not scrutiny. They need to be heard, not doubted. They need safe spaces to heal, not more gaslighting from the people around them. 5. Narcissists are skilled at image management. People with NPD are often brilliant at managing how they are perceived. They know how to curate their identity to match whatever version of themselves benefits them most. They can charm a room full of strangers, impress your parents, win over your friends, and then turn around and devalue you in private. They keep up appearances so well that even when you're being torn down behind closed doors, no one believes you. They'll often paint themselves as the victim if you leave or expose them. They'll tell others you are unstable, ungrateful, difficult. And because they've already won people over, their version of the story usually sticks. This is why so many survivors end up questioning their own reality, because the narcissist's image is so convincing that it makes the truth feel like fiction. 6. Society struggles with the concept of covert abuse. When we think of abuse, we often think of what's loud, obvious, and violent. But narcissistic abuse is often covert. It's subtle, insidious. It hides behind sarcasm, backhanded compliments, icy silence, controlling behaviors that look like love. And because covert abuse doesn't fit the classic narrative, many people don't recognize it until they're in too deep. We need to expand our understanding of what abuse looks like. Abuse isn't just physical violence. It's also manipulation, emotional blackmail, chronic invalidation. It's being made to feel like nothing you do is ever enough. It's being punished for having feelings. It's being loved conditionally, only when you're useful, compliant, or quiet. The longer we ignore this reality, the more we allow these patterns to thrive. 7. We still don't talk enough about emotional health. Another reason we ignore the dangers of NPD, because many of us were never taught how to spot unhealthy behavior in the first place. We weren't taught how to name manipulation. We weren't taught what real boundaries look like. We weren't taught that love without empathy is not love at all. In fact, many of us grew up normalizing dysfunction. We learned to silence our needs, to walk on eggshells, to prioritize other people's comfort over our own safety. We were told that family is family or relationships take work, even when those relationships were emotionally abusive. So when narcissistic behavior shows up in adulthood, we don't always recognize it for what it is. We call it passion or intensity or just how they are. But emotional health isn't just for therapists to talk about. It's something we need to weave into the fabric of our everyday lives, so we can stop mistaking harm for love and control for care. So what can we do? It starts with education, and not just formal education. We need to be having these conversations in schools, in families, in workplaces, in our communities. We need to teach people what narcissism really is, not just the stereotype, but the deeper dynamics of power, control, and emotional harm. We need to believe survivors and stop asking them to justify why they stayed or prove the abuse was real enough. We need to hold people accountable, no matter how successful, charismatic, or admired they are. And perhaps most importantly, we need to stop romanticizing narcissistic traits. Ambition without empathy is not leadership. Charm without integrity is not love. Popularity without compassion is not power. Final thoughts. Narcissistic personality disorder is not just a personal issue. It's a public one. Its impact doesn't end in the therapist's office. It shows up in our families, our companies, our politics, and our culture. And the longer we continue to ignore the dangers, the more we allow the damage to spread. So let's stop pretending narcissistic abuse is just drama or relationship issues. Let's stop praising the manipulators and silencing the survivors. Let's call it what it is. Let's protect the people being harmed. Because ignoring narcissism doesn't make it go away. It just makes it more powerful. And we deserve better. All of us. If this video resonated with you, if you've ever felt the weight of narcissistic abuse, or if you're just now beginning to connect the dots, please know this. You are not alone, and what happened to you is real. Narcissistic personality disorder isn't just a label. It's a lived experience with deep, lasting impact. But you're healing. That's real, too. And it's possible. So let's keep having these conversations. Let's stop minimizing the harm and start honoring the truth. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And the more we speak up, the more we break the silence that allows this kind of harm to continue. Take care of your heart. Protect your peace. And above all, remember, you deserve a life filled with real connection, not control. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.